Thank you and welcome to the budget hearing submissions. Firstly, I'll read the statement of acknowledgement that the Basco Shire Council acknowledges the Bunurong as the traditional owners and custodians of the land and the water and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the traditions and the culture and the law. Basco Shire Council celebrates the opportunity to embrace and empower Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities in their diversity. Basco Shire Council will create opportunities for future recognition and respectful partnerships that will honour the traditional owners and custodians and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Today we have apologies from Councillor Ellis, Councillor Lang and Councillor Whelan. Councillor draft 2024-25 budget has been out on exhibition and public submissions were invited. Council received 8 submissions. 4 submitters have chosen to speak to their submissions today. Each of you will be given 5 minutes to speak to your submission and provide extra detail. We'll indicate by a tap on the table that when your time is nearly up. So thank you. So firstly, I'd like to invite David Leslie and Graham Charles of the Bass Coast Adult Learning Centre to present. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about our submission. In the short time that I've got available, I just think it's probably most important to reinforce the fact that since BCAL has been on the site of 239 North White Road, which is around about 30 years, the usage of the site has grown enormously. When U3A, for example, joined BCAL down there, not long after BCAL took over the lease of the site, they had 20 members and now have 230 members. Woodies were never there, they've got now about 100 or so members. South Coast FM radio station, as you know. So the actual number of cars coming onto the site is just almost out of control. And I think it's the nature of the various organisations too that it's pretty difficult to think of any way we could reduce cars visiting the site. People come and go during the day. They come from U3A, for example, got a third of their membership based around about Inverloch, another third in Wonthaggi, a third in Cape Pass and other areas. So when there are classes there, they're all driving to the site. In fact, the situation now is that we've got cars parking where they shouldn't be parking on the old quadrangle area. It's never designed to be a car park anyway. And our big problem is how do we extend our car parking here? We've got space down there to do it, but the southern part of the site down there is virtually a swamp in winter. It's undrained, and you couldn't possibly do any work on there before it was drained properly. And even our existing new car park in that area that we've created in the last few years in winter becomes rather problematic in terms of office, particularly older people coming in and stepping out of their car in puddles and potholes and whatever else. So we just think it's actually essential that we get some proper drainage happening on that site, and then we can look at perhaps extending our car parking. We're servicing over 1,000 people using that site down there, all run by volunteers, with the exception of a few paid staff that we have at BCAL. All the organisations are actually governed by volunteer committee people. So it's providing a very valuable, we're all providing a valuable service to a specific cohort of people, particularly BCAL, where, as I've been the president for the last couple of years and been on the committee for about 6 years now. And when we have open days down there, I look around and I think, if we weren't here, where would these young people be? We're providing some opportunity, a disadvantage to the people who haven't done so well at school. Perhaps there's nowhere else to go in this particular space. So I think we are providing a very, very important service. And I'm sure you appreciate it, but we really do need to do something about car parking. David?
Yeah, we reach out to people that are falling through the cracks. So the younger people that come to us are the ones that are either in the process of falling out of school or have just recently done so. We have people, typically the horticulture class, people that get referred from employment agencies, and it's trying to bring them back into the workforce. And we have run a significant migrant English class, and the people there, we've seen them recently in Harmony Day with the parade down the street, integrating them back into, or integrating them into the community and making them welcome. The connections that they make with the volunteers is a really powerful contribution to the same goals that the Shire has set for itself. So we see ourselves very much as working hand in hand with the Shire to try and achieve some of the social and community goals that are in the priority plans. The state of the place, our site is essentially the old Dudley Primary School, and the beautiful old school building. I often say to people, if you built it now, you'd win an environmental award because it's got high ceilings, it's got special ventilation that comes up through the walls. The fireplaces have been blanked off, so we're not using those. But what we're using as the main driveway and car park is in fact the old playground, and I'm sure it was never built to take traffic. And cars just get heavier and heavier, and the weather events that we're experiencing, and I'm sure all of you have to find the money to fix the roads around the Shire. You don't need me to tell you about that. But we think that a little bit of money spent on the BCAL site now might actually make it cheaper in the long run. So that's what we want to put in our submission.
Okay. And any further discussion or point of clarification? No. Thank you, David and Graham, for attending. We did receive your submission, and it's certainly been read by the councillors. So thank you for presenting to us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
your time.
you. That's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Now, thank you. We'll invite Bill Clearland up to for his presentation as well. Hello, Bill, and welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. And can I just say, just quickly, I fully support the two. It was early before me because my nephew did VCAL doing his apprenticeship, and he actually got apprentice of the year working for TS Constructions just recently. So that's a really good example of how successful that program is. So what I wanted to speak to you today about is the farm differential rate. The state government, as you know, brought in a rates cap of 2.75%, I think it is annually. The farm rate at the moment, I think, is on 6.8% in increases for this draft budget. So we have got a 20% farm differential rate in place, and I think because Mornington Peninsula have had the same problem with the increasing value of the farm properties, the differential rate needs to go in line with the valuation to keep the farm rate at an acceptable level. And I think the 20% is no longer, that was introduced, I think, over 10 years ago, and it hasn't, to my knowledge, kept up with. I've actually asked for the figures, and I haven't received them yet to see what percentage farmers are paying compared to the general ratepayer. And when we looked at it 10 years ago, the farmers represented around 2% of the general population, and we're paying well over 10% of the rate burden. So the 20% differential definitely helped, but I think now it is time to move that up to at least 30. And if I can get the figures at some stage and have a look together with council and just see what is possible. When we look at surrounding shires, I look at Mornington Peninsula as probably very similar now to us, in land values. Like, I shouldn't be saying it the other way around, we're getting very close to what, farms are worth on the Mornington Peninsula. Their differential rate over there is now 70% reduction on farmland. So that's a big difference from, 20% to 70. So I think when we applied for the differential rate 10 years ago, we were looking at around 50% given the difference in values to Mornington Peninsula. So we're hoping to get around 50%. We ended up on 20, but that was 10 years ago. Land values have risen and now we're well above our 2.75% increase. So what I'd like to do is work with council and come up and do a complete grading review, look at the differential, look at the land management rebate. The land management rebate was set up by Landcare years ago, and it's basically if you commit to doing the tree planting, weed control, that sort of thing, environmental stuff on your farm, you get an amount per hectare deducted from your rates. But generally, I view that as revenue neutral because the farmer has to go out and do that work, do the fencing, plant the trees to get the rebate. So it's not the same as a differential. So I look at that, I would take that out of the equation and just look at the differential and compare it to Mornington. Have a look at land values, see where Bass Coast is sitting with land values, and then see how much the differential would have to be adjusted to keep below or below the 2.75.
Okay. Anything else?
No, any questions on that?
Points of clarification? No, all I can say, Bill, is congratulations for continuing your work with advocating for farmers.
Yeah, no, I'm actually the president of BFF Bass Coast Branch, and I'm doing this submission today just as a farmer. I'm here to represent BFF.
Yep.
Done a lot of work. Done a lot of work for it, Bill.
Yeah, it's, it's obviously close to my heart, and I want to keep, farms on dead set against subdivisions, and I've really approved of the DAL. I think it's probably 20 years too late, but, I'd like to see farms stay as farms, but we need our support from council with a solid differential so that we don't get rated out of existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm actually calling for is a rate review on the differential.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Well done.
Thank you, Bill, for your time today, and all councillors had the opportunity to read your submission.
Yep, no worries. Thanks very
Thank you.
much.
Thanks, Bill.
Sure. See ya.
Okay, we've got Troy Ross from the Woolamai Beach Surf Life Safety Club, and Troy is online today for us. Troy, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, I can, thank you. So go
Right.
ahead, Troy, thanks.
Thanks very much. First of all, thanks very much for the opportunity to present, and apologies that I couldn't be there in person. I have got a presentation of a few slides, which I will try and do now.
From his car, this will be impressive.
Yeah, I was going to say, do that from your car. That's
Do this from your car, Troy. This
Can you
is humble.
can you see that now?
Only you.
Only
No,
me?
unfortunately, yeah. We've had the opportunity to read your submission, so
Okay, I'll go through. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'll be able to share this, but I'll go through it. So basically, look, what now this is not going to. So I'll give you an introduction to the club. So Woolamai Beach Surf Lifesaving Club was founded in 1959. My name's Troy. I've been a member of the club for 35 years. It's been a very big part of my life, and I am a life member of that club. The club is Gippsland's largest surf lifesaving club in terms of membership and also area of patrolled and obviously rescues. And the club's primary function is to patrol the beaches and keep swimmers safe between the flags. Our volunteers, as you know, patrol some of the Victoria's most dangerous coastline, and a critical addition to the club has been the installation of the Smiths Beach Rescue Base in 2018. This is a bit difficult because I actually have some photos. The rescue base at Smiths Beach, the key functions were or are public first aid. So we take any patient that's needing treatment, we take into the rescue base. It's a training hub for future lifesavers at the club. It's a shelter for lifesavers in inclement weather. It's surveillance, and it's also a storage area for rescue equipment, including oxygen therapies and rescue tubes and boards. The situation now, unfortunately, is that since the installation in 2018, the harsh weather conditions have caused a lot of decay and rust, and the Smiths Beach Rescue Base requires some urgent repairs and maintenance to be operational this forthcoming patrol season. Occupational health and safety issues have been identified with three factors. One is the stairs used by the public. So it's not only used by lifesavers, but there's actually stairs up to the base. The bolts holding the base of the posts in place, so that the steel posts, which are in concrete footings, the nuts and bolts are actually rusted through. And the external struts and steel support beams have also rusted through. And again, it's a bit difficult. I have got some photos which I'll send through after this presentation. So the funding assistance is independent quotations. We've received two independent quotes, and they both identified repairs, supply and installation of required hardware, craning in and out of new stairs, and parts for a total value of $128,000. The Willamai Beach Surf Lifesaving Club is asking Bass Coast Council for $30,000 of that $128,000. It is critical that the funding target is reached for the Smiths Beach Rescue Base to remain operational. Otherwise, it may be closed this year due to the structure being condemned. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Troy. We actually received your submission, and I certainly saw those photos that you presented in that submission.
Great.
So I don't think there's any questions. Is there any point of clarification from any of the councillors? No? Troy, we thank you for presenting today. Oh, hang on, there's Councillor Lark for point of clarification. Councillor Lark.
I just wanted to clarify the balance of the funding. Where was that coming from?
Well, the club's going to put in $30,000 of money that we've fundraised, and also look, we're still talking to other key stakeholders and other sponsors. And I mean, if we could ask council for 128, we would, but we thought the ask was a bit high, to be honest. So we've tried to make it reasonable and attainable at 30,000. So to be honest, the answer is we don't know where the rest of the funding's coming from. But if we ask, as I say, if we ask council for 128, it might be knocked on the head. We thought 30,000 was probably more realistic and more attainable.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. Thanks, Troy. Again, thank you for your presentation today. All councillors have had the opportunity to read your submission, and I thank you for presenting. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Okay, we're moving on now to.
She's not here yet, so we'll just have to end it.
Okay, as our next presenter isn't available at this stage, that was Sandra Peters from the Phillip Island Contemporary Exhibition Space. We will conclude the presentations today, and everybody's had the opportunity to have a look at her submission. So please have a second reading, or any questions, please ask the officers. So today that concludes our budget submissions hearing and will be the end of the live streaming. Thank you very much for attending. Just wait.